game is still down. Well, damn it. Well, cue the music. So first of all, we're not going to let that get in our way for this video. We are going to be talking about this banner. And you may be wondering, where is the banner? Well, the game's not up. So gonna have to take some creative liberties with this one. So we are going to be talking about the banner, the Valkyrie profile banner. I didn't say Valkyria this time. I'm a little proud of myself because I stopped it. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about the Valkyria profile, and unfortunately I have to use Reddit this time as my background. There's really not much I can do. Let's get Jolanda's picture on screen. Hey, there's Jolanda. Alright, so we're going to be taking a quick look at these units and seeing if they are worth the lapis. And let me tell you, it's an expensive limited time banner with so many step-ups. So let's talk about Jolanda. Well, first of all, her TMR just is a 98 magic rod. It's not bad, it's not great. Other than that, her limit burst turned out to be a 400% maxed out AoE one-hit fire attack. That's pretty mediocre. And in general, there really just isn't much in her kit that's super worth talking about. So, yeah, let's move on. And next up is Lucian. Now, Lucian's Trust Mastery ended up being a 40% spirit attack and 20% spirit when equipped with a sword. It's another option for attack. It may not be what you want, but 40% is 40%, and 20% spirit can help your guys survive. Other than that, he ended up with an 800% maxed out 5-hit thunder physical attack for his limit burst. And then other than that, there's really not anything super impressive in his kit. A 320% single target 12-hit physical thunder attack, which makes me wonder if he can chain with Sephiroth, as well as Duke's 12-hit attack, but kind of an off element for both of those units. There is a Thunder Greatsword for Sephiroth or Duke, so maybe, but as a budget unit, he's basically ended up being TMR fodder. Disappointing. And now we get into the big ones, the Angrim, which I'm probably not saying right and never will. Funny that. So first of all, his Trust Mastery is a 40 attack, 30 light, with a 10% chance to dodge physical attack and a 40% chance to counter with a 500% hit single target physical damage. But the interesting thing about that is if we look at... I don't remember where I saw it, but it seems to be kind of a chaining counter hit, so yeah, his TMR is pretty good. It's pretty darn good. 40 attack accessory that gives that kind of a revenge attack and some % chance to dodge is just really, really solid. I was a little on the fence about how good his accessory is, but the percentage I think is there to be really good. That's a really high chance of countering, and only one per turn, but if it is the chaining ability someone told me it was, that's really good. It could be really, really good for Arena, no less. Moving on. His Super Trust Mastery is the two-handed greatsword that I have been waiting for since I got CG Hayu. 165 Thunder Element Greatsword with a damage variance of 1 to 1.6. That's really good. That's on par with Squall's sword, but a higher attack and an element and 1.3 times increase to limit burst damage. And CG Hayu is a limit burst damager for sure. Or Cloud, like this is just... This greatsword is totally worth going for. At least as far as I'm concerned. Your results may vary. Anyway. So how about this guy? Well, his limit burst is pretty beefy at cost of 30 crystals, maxed out 7-star, 1800%, 8-hit physical fire attack with AoE, 3 to 5 limit burst crystals. That's not bad. He uses a limit burst and gets some limit burst back. And he gives to the entire party. What a nice guy. 1800% and an element on his isn't particularly bad. I don't know who it could chain with, but it seems good. And now we talk about it. So first of all, the T ability, basically, that I talked about in the last video, turns out to be triple, meaning that he can use 3 of his attack abilities in a turn, but there is a catch. You cannot duplicate or use 2 or 3 of the same ability. It has to be different abilities every time. So, with that in mind, we're going to have to take a quick peek at his kit in full. So he has a 200% single hit target attack, he has a 300% AoE hit attack, 365% one-hit physical attack, a 1000% one-hit physical attack. Basically, he's starting to look like a chain finisher. 320% one-hit physical attack with 50% chance to poison and virus, or poison or virus. I'm not quite sure how that reads. He has a 100% one-hit physical attack, adding fire resistance, or debuffing fire resistance to a target, and adding fire to attacks, which is kind of weird, because there's a fire greatsword. But I guess it's okay. It's just a good combo starter. He has a 700% single target 2-hit physical attack that debuffs the enemy for defense. He has Rage, which is really interesting, self 3-turn 200% attack buff, and he increases his limit burst fill rate, which you definitely want on this guy, and his 88 MP ability, which can be triple cast, used in the triple cast, but only once, obviously, on a 2-turn cooldown, which is pretty fast, 1200% single target 1-hit physical attack. Now all that is really, really cool, but what is interesting about this guy is how much buff he gets from True Dual Hand. For one thing, we're not even going to talk about the attack in his kit, we're just going to be talking about the True Dual Hand. So at base 6-star, he gets a 75% attack bonus when True Dual Handing. That's a really, really good start. But if we go down, when you get closer to him being maxed out, he gets a 30% attack for equipping a sword, a greatsword, or a lance, or a knuckle. Which, I don't know if there are any knuckles that are true dual hand, but that's pretty interesting. It gives him some flexibility in his equipment, besides just being a great sword user. And he is a great sword user. But when you get him into a 7-star, equipping his TMR, which that TMR was pretty good to begin with, gives him an extra 75%, meaning just from True Dual Hand, he gets 150% attack bonus in his kit. And that's not including all the other attack that he gives himself, just from everything else. But, interestingly, his level 120 ability not only gives him 20% attack, spirit, and HP, it also 1.2% increase to limit burst damage. So with his greatsword, that ends up stacking. So that's a lot of extra limit burst. His 1800% is not truly indicative of just how good he could be. He could potentially be a really limit burster, and okay, sure, fine, I'll take it. Long story short, he ended up seeming to have a much nicer kit than I thought he would. Even as a counter ability that gives himself, there it is, 40% chance to counter physical damage with blah 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 blah. And basically it gives fire resistance down to an enemy, self 1 turn add fire to his attacks, and fills his limit burst 2 to 4 crystals. That's a really good counter. Long story short, Arngrim is just kind of awesome. I really like this character. As a physical, like, it's not just his super trust mastery. I think he's a pretty solid physical unit, but he definitely falls into chain finisher. So if you have CG Hayu or Cloud, this unit may not be worth going super hard for, but at the same time, that super trust mastery is the completing piece to the puzzle for CG Hayu, so I'm definitely going for this guy. And now we have probably the most interesting unit of the kit, of all of them, Freya. First of all, Freya's accessory is a 55 magic accessory giving an extra 20% MP. That's really just good for any mage looking for some extra stats in her magic. But her super trust mastery is a 40 defense, 50 magic, 50 spirit hat. That hat is insane. And 100% resistance to silence and petrify and an extra 30% HP. All amazing too. For a hat, that's really top tier. I love that hat. I want that hat for any unit. CG Citra would look good with that hat. But anyway, what about Freya? Well, first of all, you'll notice that her 7-star base is 250 magic, which is really, like, that's an awesome magic stat to begin with. But the other thing you'll notice, and I want to draw your attention right here, she can't equip weapons. Really, no weapons. Should have been a clue in her TMR and her super TMR. But I find this super interesting, and here's why. We're going to scroll down just a bit to that limit burst, which is, oh my god, that limit burst at maxed out 7-star, a 3000% single target one hit magic attack. No element on it, but oh my god, super high. And if we scroll down, what is her last ability that she gets at level 120? But 30% increase to magic, increased counter chances by 1.5%, and a 1.5% limit burst damage increase. Oh my god, that's actually super exciting for me, because 1.5 times increase puts her magic attack, if my percentages are right, at 4,500 for a single target one hit attack. And somebody was, that I can't credit because I don't remember all the details, so I don't want to get it wrong and them to be horribly angry at me. 4,500, and in theory, with dual wield and magic and putting some rods on her and equip rod, she could in theory hit 1,700 magic. 1,700 magic with that 4,500% single target one hit limit burst could be nuts. Could be literally freaking nuts. This is a unit where normally I poo-poo. Normally I poo-poo limited time units because they end up not being good. This could be Tillith level. This could be the next Tillith, but for magic damage. I'm super excited about it, as you can tell. And in her kit, she already has a ton of magic stat to make up for the fact that she cannot equip weapons. Is the game up yet? The game is up. That's exciting. So, she has a ton of magic. She has an ability to counter. She has a 400% single target 5 hit. I'm just going to... Sorry, I have to get blue stacks working. Pay no attention to the man behind the glass. But she has the same kind of triple casting ability that the other Valkyrie profile 5 stars have, but, and what's interesting is that they're all pretty decent percentage. 360%, 15 frames per attack, which is kind of a weird thing, but they debuff elements, so she can do a few other things. That's interesting. But she also has a 30% magic with a 100% magic boost after her HP drops below 80%. So her taking even a little bit of damage is good. Equipping her TMR gives her a 50% magic boost as well as 10% to all of the stats. And in her 7-star kit, Her cooldown ability is a 1200% single target 14 hit magic attack with holy explosion frames. Yes! CG Citra might have found someone that will be her best friend. Minus the element thing, but I don't know. Maybe there's a way around that. I'm too excited to think. She also has a really interesting, like CG Hayu attack, but with magic instead. Oh good. Blue Apps is finally loading in. There's going to be some extra music. Don't just ignore it. But in general, she has a lot of magic increases already in her kit, and that's really awesome because you can just put Rod, equip Rod, equip Rod, dual cast, and get her magic stat even higher. She can hit the 300% cap super easy. Freya is definitely one of the units I am in love with. I will be doing the step up for her, and I will be doing the step up for Arngrim. I may wail a little bit on this banner. And last but not least is everybody's favorite girl, the girl that probably most people want, and I'm just not the most excited for. But god damn it, 3 step ups is gonna hurt really, really hard. Lenneth. Now, Lenneth's TMR is 135 attack. Dark Element Sword, not bad. Super Thrust Mastery, 160 attack, 30 Spirit Bow. It's the best bow in the game so far, so if there are bow users in the future, good to have. Now, her Limit Burst is a 2000% maxed out 7-star single target, 10 hit physical attack, which is pretty awesome. It's a pretty cool little chaining ability. And sorry, I'm still updating. BlueStacks. Yes, whatever. Update the stupid game. I'm basically going to be live streaming right after this. You may hear, this is pretty unusual for me to do this, and I apologize. I should be reviewing stuff, but it's really exciting at the moment. There's so much things going on. There's just so many things. Okay, BlueStacks, get working, just download it, use a raid orb really quick. I'm not even going to look at what I have to do. I promise I'm going to get back to it in a second. Lenneth is a really kind of interesting character in that she seems to be a chainer, but who she can chain with, I'm not 100% sure. Now, she has the triple casting ability, and more importantly, she gets bonuses for both using her bow, 100% attack when two-handing, so she already gets a lot of good stuff in her kit. Die Barossa, alright, done. She has counters, and I'm totally off track, she has a evade. She has basically a Mirage-like ability, and most of her abilities are chaining. But what's interesting, she can also has a chance to ignore fatal attacks. She has Revive in her kit, which is kind of nice in case of emergencies. She has a lot of counters, and her bigger attacks are much better for chaining. So she has the 180% 7-hit physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, and reducing light and dark. Now that 7-hit attack isn't listed as Holy Explosion frames, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Holy Explosion frames, but don't quote me on that quite yet. I didn't use magic. Damn it, this raid is a disaster already. She has a 68 MP, 200% random 1-hit light physical attack, and adds light to her own attack. So that fixes the problem with her bow, basically. She doesn't need the light element, because she can use this ability every turn. She also has available on a 4-turn cooldown, 1000% AoE, or available turn 5, 4-turn cooldown, 1000%, 20-hit attack, and debuffs for 3 turns light and dark resistance by 100%. That's really big. Now, her kit is basically just a massive pile of... Jesus. Sorry, I'm just taking a look at this and seeing that I have a ton of stuff unlocked. I think I do. Long story short, what do I think about it? Well, Lenneth's a little bit confusing. She has 150% attack naturally in her kit, which is really high. Lenneth might be really, really good, just a really solid chainer, especially if she can do some Holy Explosion, even if she can't dual cast it. She has a lot of other chaining abilities, and light and dark resistance at 100% for 3 turns. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. So, how do I think about all of these units? Well, I think that all 3 of them are pretty damn incredible. For different reasons. My favorites are definitely Arngrim and Freya. Freya just could be that new level Tillith that you're going to end up really, really, really wanting to get. Did I just get 20 million gil? Also, where are the other 5-star tickets? There were supposed to be more 5-star tickets, game. Don't hold out on me. But the long story short is I think that this banner is just absolutely incredible. I think that it is phenomenal. Any of these 3 units that you want, they all have their distinct strengths. The one potential problem with all of them is MP cost, though. Triple casting abilities in a turn mean that you're going to need a lot of MP per turn, and looking really quickly, her recovery is locked behind. She can recover 10% MP per turn, but it's locked behind her Trust Mastery ability, and that's potentially a little bit scary. Does she really have no other MP regeneration? That could be a big downfall for Lenneth. To get MP regeneration, she has to be a 7-star, and she has to have her TMR. That's actually potentially really, really scary. Looking at Freya really quickly, because a lot of Freya's abilities are quite MP. Yeah, she can regen 5% MP per turn. That's pretty good. And let's just, really quickly, MP. Arngrim doesn't have any MP recovery, or any natural MP recovery. That's a tiny bit scary. Now, there are MP batteries, but that might change my opinion about some of them just a bit. Just a bit. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But in general, I think that all of these units are super strong. I think they all are pretty creative and unique, and whoever you do like, or none of them, yeah, they're pretty safe bets to go on. Whether or not your step-ups will go well, that's always the question, right? So that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this banner review. Thank you to Nazda and all the wonderful people on Reddit who format all of this data. You guys are just awesome. And so yeah, that's it for now, and I'll see you all in the next video, and hopefully your pulls go well, because they're 3 step-ups. It's 33,000 lapies you need to do all this. That's nuts. Anyway, see you all next time.